What's up guys, GGFOREX here, and on today's video I want to talk about why I think 4 100k accounts is better than 1 400k accounts. I had this debate on my TikTok, link for all that information if you wanted to follow me, because this is where I kind of put all my little tips and tricks and just bits of nuggets and knowledge that I've learned over the years, and I'm passing it on to you guys and then having a debate and whatever we think. But the debate was, I believe that 4 100k accounts is better than 1 400k account, and the reason being is I feel like, one, mentally, it's a lot better. So let's just assume they're all funded, all right? And I know some of you guys aren't at that stage yet, but you will get there if you just keep plugging away. But I just want to just say it because I feel like people think that you need to have like the biggest accounts ever to make any money at all. And I feel like the best thing you can do is just take little chunks as you go. So the reason behind this is, let's assume you're all at break even. You've got 4 accounts, and on 1 week, let's say the start of the month, week 1, you're going to be trading one of these accounts separately. You're not linking them together, you're going to trade them all separately. So you've got one 100k account, let's say you make 2%. And that's your goal, maybe 2%. Okay, cool. You made 2% on the first week, you're going to request your payout. You're never going to touch that account until you get paid out again. And then you're going to trade the second week with the second account and then do the same again. So let's just assume, hypothetically, in this conversation that we have made 6% and we're on week 3. Okay, we're 3 weeks in. Usually around about the end of the month, we could potentially hit NFP. Maybe we might overtrade. And I know you guys are probably going to say, oh, it's just a psychology thing, just don't trade the end of the month. But you don't know what week's going to be good, what week's going to be bad. So this is a hypothetical conversation. These different weeks could be different. So month 1 could be positive, week 1 could be positive, week 2 could be negative, week 3 could be positive, week 4 could be positive. It's going to be a random order, but hopefully by the end of this video, what I'm saying is going to make sense when I break it down into the individual sections. So let's just assume on this scenario that 3 weeks of the month, the first 3 weeks, you've made 2% each week. So you're up 6%. And let's say at week 4, it's NFP. Maybe you got a little bit of euphoria, but for whatever reason, maybe it's the news. During out that week, let's just assume that you lose 3%. So imagine if you were 6% up and now you've gone down to 3%. And then it depends how you react in that situation. Yes, I know you guys are going to say in the comments 3% on 400k is more than 6% on 100k separately. I know that. But I think it's the idea of what I feel like it's better this way is because when you know that one of those payments will recover 2 or 3 other challenges of that same size account, it's a lot easier to trade, right? Just think about it. So if it costs me $500 to buy a 100k challenge and I make 2% on my first week and I requested that payout, right? I've made 2%, so that 2% is $2,000, right? Out of that, I'll keep $1,600. So I know with that one payment in that 1 week, I can buy 3 more challenges with that one payout. So it's a mindset thing of I'm taking a little chunk here and taking a little chunk here and taking a little chunk here. I feel like that's way more sustainable than just going all in on a 400k account and hoping that that one account makes up for it. Where I feel like when you break it down into sections, you trade this week, whatever you get this week, it's going to be positive or negative. If you're negative, start on the new account on the next week. If you're positive or negative, whatever, start on the third account on the next week. I feel like that stops you from trying to grow a one account and try and make 10% out of it, rather than just take your little chunk and move on. Like 2% a month, guys, or 2% a week, it will change your life. It's an insane amount of money. So when to the stage where you get 2% on a 400k account, and let's say you're up this level now where you've got 400k accounts, whether it's spread out with different platforms or not, diversify your risk, of course. But let's just assume you have that scenario. It's the same situation, just with more capital. It's the same situation as 4 100ks instead of 1 400k. This is now 4 400ks instead of, I don't know, 1.6 million. All right, I know it's slightly different, but it's the same rules. I'd rather just do 2% on that 400k account, secure the payment, forget about it for 2 weeks as I'm waiting for that payment to come in, and then focus next week on a different account, starting from 0 again. Whether it's negative or positive on week 2, starting week 3 on a different account. Always from 0 again. So if I finish week 2 negative, then the following month I'm going to start on that account negative, whatever it is, And if I come out of drawdown, great. That week's now finished. I'll then use that account again for the third month, if that makes sense. So you're always taking a little bit of chunks out of the market without trying to make one huge gain. Like, I know you see some of these people that have like $50,000 payouts or $100,000 payouts, and it's like, yeah, great, but that's not sustainable. What is sustainable is just do 1-2% a month on an account, or 1-2% a week on an account, request your payout, and then move on. You're never going to be on a leaderboard. You're never going to look like a top G, right? Like, no one boasts about, oh, look at me, I made 2%. And they're like, oh my God, you're a god. You know, like, you're not going to be on the top 5 leaderboards where you've made 30% in a month. Like, if you're trying to achieve that, you will blow your account, you will lose. All this is doing is making sure that you can be consistent and sustainable with your trading. So that's why I think having 4 accounts that add up to, or rather have 4 accounts of a certain number that add up to whatever it is, rather than having 1 account. So again, same situation. I'd rather have 4 50k accounts than 1 200k account. I think what I've tried to say has come across. I think it makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know in the comment box down below. But yeah, I feel like you will technically make less money this way, but I think in the long term, you'll make more money because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket with 1 account. Your mindset isn't going to be stressed thinking, oh no, I'm in drawdown. So for example, let's say you're in drawdown. Let's say you're 5% in drawdown and you only have 1 account. And then you have a bunch of good setups that you want to take. And let's say you spend the next 2 weeks getting out of drawdown. Well, then you've missed out all those setups and you haven't made any money. Rather than if you have separate accounts and it's a separate week, you've made money in those separate accounts. And then the drawdown account that you still got, you can tackle next month or the next 2 weeks or whenever the cycle comes back around again. So you're not missing out on opportunities. And another thing as well is if you're, let's say on Monday or whatever, you made your 2%, you're like, cool, that account's done. I'm now just going to request a payout. Leave that account alone. Let's come Tuesday and you see some great setups. It's not as if you can't trade it now because you have other accounts that you can trade it with. You see what I mean? So you could have a really great week. Like, you might trade all 4 accounts. Let's say you make 2% Monday, 2% Tuesday, 3% Wednesday. You know, you request all those payouts and then just carry on. And then the following week, you can buy more challenges and scale it capital that way. Like, I think if you want to make 10,000 a month, right, for example, as a goal, I would rather make 1% on $1 million in funding than trying to take 100k and to make 10%. I think it's easier to make 1% than it is to make 10%. Either way, you get the same amount, you just have different capital to play with. And I think this is the best way to play with more capital. Trade them separately, don't link them together. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comment box down below. If you enjoyed it, let me know. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.